My name's Rob. I'm here with my colleague Colin, and we're starting a company called Glas Data, which is looking at data collection with agriculture. And we're working with a Launchpad, which is an EU-funded incubator hosted by Falmouth University. I'm just going to speak to you really quickly about what we're doing. So a while ago, we looked at the global food and supply and demand problem, and what we found was quite overwhelming, is that by 2050, there's going to be 10.5 billion people on the planet. And with roughly the same amount of agricultural land as we have at our disposal right now, we need to produce almost 70% more calories to feed everyone, which is quite a large problem. In the UK, there's been a few things happen recently, for example, Brexit, which has meant that people have started thinking about farm profitability and sustainability. And also, the farming sector in this country is becoming more and more automated, with much more data to disseminate and try and understand. So, as we've been doing a bit of research, we found that there's quite a wide array of tools that people are using to currently collect agricultural data, from scratching the odd bit of note in a ledger, all the way up to using as many systems as possible to collect as much data as possible. So what we're trying to do is give people the tool to collect data really easily and simply, and visualize that data to help them become more profitable and hopefully more sustainable. So what we're creating is what we're calling our ecosystem, which is 3 key areas. We've got easy data entry, clear data visualization, and also bespoke functionality for entities which require more complexity. We've been speaking to people as well about things that they currently are recording and what they'd like to record in the future. And again, we've come across a wide array of different things, from lambing mortality rates. We came across a guy who wanted to correlate levels of copper in his cattle's blood to fertility rates. And also, we've been speaking to a few dairy processors who want to aggregate data from quite a few different areas, including the National Milk Laboratory. So what we're currently focusing on is this system which can provide all this sort of stuff, and this is to do with the capture and aggregation of data. But we see in the future there's quite a lot of opportunity with the analysis and the prescription of data. And this is using techniques such as machine learning, artificial intelligence, to actually identify negative patterns in agricultural data, and not only identify them, but also prescribe solutions to them. And this is all moving towards a sort of unified IT platform for agriculture. So once we've got a full feature ecosystem up and running, this is sort of what it's going to look like. You're always going to have your own user data layer, which is 100% private, individual to the user. We're also looking at facilitating a knowledge bridge between researchers and people, farm businesses. And what we want to do is make research data relevant to individual farm businesses. We're actually talking with someone at the moment about microclimate weather data, and there's a few other things as well. And we also want to aggregate data from as many different sources as we can, which will become a bit clearer in this slide. So on the left here, we have a very high overview of the food supply chain. At the moment, we're looking at the individual farm business, farm co-ops, and also food processors. But we see this sort of product being relevant all the way up the food supply chain, all the way to the end consumer, as there's actually much more awareness of where people's food has come from nowadays, and they want to know about it. On the right here are some examples of data sources that we want to integrate into the system. And as I've already mentioned, we're looking at research institutions currently. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this slide, but this is essentially detailing where revenue is going to come from. We've got the primary processors, researchers, and then the wider supply chain here. And again, I won't go into too much detail here, but essentially we're detailing our routes to market and how we're going to go about commercialization. We've had a little look at their current landscape, and there's a lot of really powerful, quite good products out there, but what we've found is that they all are very prescriptive in the way they tell people to collect data. So you can only collect what they say you can collect. They do it in the way, you have to do it in the way they dictate, and you have to do it when they dictate. And they also do it at quite a high cost. So what we want to achieve is essentially offer the opposite experience. So we want to do a very dynamic, fluid data collection service at a very low cost. And this is why the core service that we're developing is actually going to be free to use. And then as people need more complexity, the price will grow in accordance. Thank you very much for listening. I'm happy to take any questions.